This lesson is 6.2 on writing and solving proportions. So a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equivalent. So for example, 2/3 is equal to 8/12. This would be a proportion because we're saying they're equal to one another. Or in terms of algebraic terms, A over B equals C over D, but B and D are not 0. So for example 1 is how can we solve a proportion using equivalent ratios? So if I told you 3/5 is equal to x over 20, how could you solve for x? Well, step 1, you could compare the denominators, so 5 and 20. Well, we know that we have to multiply the denominator 5 by 4 to get 20. Thus, for step 2, we have to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by 4, the same factor, in order to get it to be with 20 as the denominator. So in this case, 5 times 4 equals 20, 3 times 4 equals x, so x equals 3 times 4, x equals 12. You've probably been doing this without being told how to solve proportions in previous chapters when we're using fractions. So I'd like you to try this one on your own. Can you solve for x when you have the equation 2/9 is equal to x over 27? Press pause now and give it a try. The second type of problem you may have is solving a proportion using algebra. So I just showed you how to do it by comparing the denominators. Now we know how to do it using algebra. So in this case, we can first multiply each side by 15 to cancel out the 15 if the x is divided by. If we multiply both sides by 15, then we can get x is equal to 15 times 2/5, which is equal to 30 over 5, and then we can simply simplify it and divide the 30 by 5 to get 6. So x is equal to 6. Could have done it the same way we did in the previous by figuring out the difference in denominators, but in this case we used our algebra. So try it using the algebra this time to figure out what x is when 8/11 equals x over 55. So use your algebra this time. Example 3 is writing and solving a proportion. So for every $25 that you earn, you put it in the bank, $15. So how much of the $70 that you earned at your after-school job this week will you end up saving? So in this case, we first want to write a proportion involving the two ratios that compare the amount you saved to the amount you earned. So we know 15 of your $25 is saved, but we want to know how much of the $70 is saved. So 15 over 25 equals x over 70. Because that's how much you save, that's how much you earn. X is how much you're going to save, 70 is how much you earn. Then we can multiply by 70 on both sides to get x alone. So we end up with 1,050 over 25, and then we can divide 1,050 by 25 and get x equals 42. So our answer would be you would save $42 out of the $70 you earned this week. So we just used and set up a proportion first, and then use one of the methods that that I just showed you in the previous two examples to solve it. So try this one. So you're at a bookstore. 3 novels cost $17.97. How many novels could you buy for $29.95? So set it up first as proportion and then solve the proportion. So that's the end of this lesson. Bring the solved problems with you to class tomorrow.